I don't even know how we got there because I tried to make it clear how many civil rights, it doesn't just boil down to one conversation, but I can see that somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans, trans, trans so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all to tell me whether or
Do
not.
not call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those emails actually have. Chairman, I am reclaiming my time.
You will not do that. I
Order.
am not a child.
I am reclaiming my time.
If you want to take it outside,
Mr. Chairman, the committee is not
Okay,
in order.
all right. Order.
Point of order. Point of order.
Order. Chair recognizes Ms. Crockett.
No, point of order, Mr. Chairman.
State your point.
Is it allowed in the rules for a member to incite violence against another member? I mean, she wants to take it outside with.
Hey, I have the First Amendment right too.
And so I'd like those words to be taken down. I am moving to have those words taken down. I believe it's against the rules to
going outside doesn't
violence
incite violence.
another
You have a conversation that isn't.
The committee will
interrupting the
suspend.
committee.
The member will state the words he wishes taken down.
Where she said that we can take it outside, which is direct violation against the rules, inciting violence against another member.
What rule? What rule? Cite the rule.
How does that incite violence?
Mr. Chairman, there are, if I might point out, Mr. Chairman, there are decorum rules in the House of Representatives.
And the two parliamentarians are discussing this right now. We'll suspend for a second. All right. The chair's going to make a rule. What the gentlelady said was, we can take this outside if you want. And
Okay, so
that could mean you could go outside and have a cup of coffee or perhaps a beer, or, you know, I mean, we have
seriously,
Mr.
lots of
Chairman?
conversations outside. So I'm going to rule that that it was just
that it's okay.
that it's okay.
All right, and then point of inquiry.
And remember, this is a slippery slope you're going down, because we have.
Oh, you're going
disagreements in
down
this
the
committee,
slippery
as you
slope.
know.
So just to be clear, in this committee, we can ask, we can threaten violence on someone as long as
no,
at the
that's
end.
not-
Excuse me.
I did not threaten violence.
Excuse me,
I threatened no
excuse me.
violence.
There was
I threatened no violence.
There was no violence.
As long
no
as
violence.
at the
Don't
end.
create a
I
false
threatened
add a
no
question.
violence.
That was
None.
another
You're
person.
making shit up as
It's
you
good
go
to know.
along. You
Good
might
to
want to
know.
figure this one out.
Order. There was
Mr.
no
I thought you were
Chairman.
cursing today.
No violence.
Mr. Chairman,
No violence.
I'm going to appeal the ruling of the chair.
Mr. Chairman, I have
ruling of the
a point of inquiry, and I apologize because I had a meeting and came right down. Is it true that Ms. Mace was belittled by being called a child? Is that against our rules?
I would have to look up the rules. I don't know that it's
I'd like to
specifically in
appeal
the
the
rules. We
rules.
asked for
Well,
proper decorum.
can we strike
asked
it
for
then?
everybody
I'd like to have it
go.
stricken.
Okay. Now,
I'd
there's
have Ms. Crockett's word stricken then.
there's a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The final points that I was going to make is, while this amendment has to do with civil rights, for whatever reason, the colleague on the other side of the aisle decided to attack Democrats and pretend as if we do not look out for women. And I want to be clear that it's Democrats that were pushing for the Equal Rights Amendment, and I don't recall any Republicans supporting us having the Equal Rights Amendment. I also want to make it clear that just because someone fantasizes or wants to be dramatic about the idea of someone could be a quote unquote man in a locker room or in a bathroom, I've yet to hear an actual testimony of someone who, for whatever reason, has experienced this in real time. But I can tell you some real numbers and some real facts, because I don't like to live in fantasy when I'm talking about how I'm going to govern for the American people. The facts are, in my state alone, in the state of Texas, once they decided that they were going to overturn the Roe decision, 26,000 women then ended up raped. 26,000 is what we had reported. And that was only within about a year's time span. And when they reported those rapes, none of them seemed to have anything to do with trans folk. And I don't recall any legislation to help out those women in Texas and beyond that are actually dying. We're not projecting may die, but are actually dying or have died in southern states that have decided that they wanted to go after our reproductive freedom. So as a woman in this country, as a Texan, and as a Black woman who, when we look at the numbers, and I believe in data and science, and I know that that escapes a lot of people in this chamber, but the numbers are clear that specifically Black women have always struggled when it came down to the maternal mortality rates in general. The fact that somebody who looks like me, no matter how much money they have, because I can remind you of a very wealthy tennis star that almost lost her life while trying to give birth. Some things I honestly just don't think should be partisan. And frankly, I do believe in privacy because honestly, I don't want none of y'all making decisions if I ever end up pregnant and have to decide what it takes for me to save my life. And I give the same opportunity for other women in this country to make decisions as they see fit. So while we look at how we protect women completely differently, I can tell you that at least in the 766,000 women or 766,000 constituents that I represent, I've had them come to me concerned about whether or not they could survive childbirth. But I have not had a single person in my district tell me that they were concerned that they may be raped by a trans person. So if there is an issue to solve in this country based on facts, data, and statistics, I think that we need to look at the type of healthcare that we are going to advance for women in this country. And with that, I will yield.
During a House Oversight Committee hearing, Representative Nancy Mace interrupted Representative Jasmine Crockett's remarks on civil rights and reproductive health. When Mace told Crockett that they could take it outside, it crossed a line. Members of Congress are supposed to argue policy, not posture for confrontation. What should have been a discussion about protecting people's rights turned into a spectacle. You just watched a moment that on the surface looked like political theater, two members of Congress clashing in a committee hearing. But what happened between Nancy Mace and Jasmine Crockett tells us something deeper about how our politics works today. It shows how conversations about civil rights, women's health, and equality can so easily get reduced to shouting matches and sound bites instead of the serious debate the public deserves. Beneath the surface, though, Jasmine Crockett was trying to make a critical point, one that got lost in the chaos. She was arguing for the restoration of a subcommittee dedicated to civil rights and civil liberties, a group that once played a vital role in investigating discrimination and ensuring that federal protections actually reached real people. These structures are how Congress keeps consistent focus on issues that don't make daily headlines but still shape millions of lives. Without them, oversight becomes reactive and short-sighted. The exchange also revealed how easily misinformation or distraction tactics enter our national dialogue. When Mace and others raise fears about transgender people as supposed threats to women's safety, it takes the focus away from real, measurable dangers women actually face every day, like maternal mortality, sexual violence, and the erosion of reproductive health care. Crockett used her time to draw that distinction clearly. She pointed out that in her home state of Texas, thousands of women have been raped since abortion bans took effect, and that many of those survivors now have no access to critical care. She reminded the room that none of that had anything to do with trans people, but everything to do with policies made by those in power. Crockett also spoke about something that rarely gets the space it deserves, the crisis of Black maternal mortality. Across the country, Black women are several times more likely to die from childbirth complications than white women, regardless of income or education. These are preventable deaths rooted in unequal health care, implicit bias, and policy neglect. Her words underscored a truth that should transcend party lines, that the government has a responsibility to protect women's health, not politicize it. And when she brought up the Equal Rights Amendment, she was connecting the dots between decades of unfinished work. For generations, Democrats have pushed to enshrine gender equality in the Constitution, while many Republicans have resisted or remained silent. That historical divide helps explain the tension we saw in that room. It wasn't just about personal disrespect, it was about fundamentally different views of whose rights are worth defending. It's also important to see the people behind the microphones. Jasmine Crockett is a former civil rights attorney and Texas legislator, a Black woman who understands how policy failure translates into lived suffering. Her tone reflected frustration born of experience, the exhaustion of watching the same arguments resurface while communities continue to hurt. Nancy Mace, meanwhile, has positioned herself on the cultural battlefield, amplifying talking points about transgender people and women's safety that energize certain parts of her base. Their confrontation wasn't random. It was the collision of two political strategies, one grounded in lived reality, the other in provocation. But what should matter most to viewers isn't who got the last word. It's what the argument reveals about our political priorities. While lawmakers spar over imaginary threats, real people are paying the price. Women are dying from preventable complications. Survivors of assault are being denied care. Families are navigating pregnancies in states where doctors are afraid to treat them. And the same politicians who stir outrage over culture war flashpoints often do little to address those concrete problems. This hearing is a reminder that democracy depends on seriousness, on leaders who use their time to solve problems, not headlines. It's also a call for citizens to hold them accountable. Ask your representatives what they're doing to protect women's health. Ask whether they support policies that reduce maternal deaths and expand reproductive access. And most of all, demand that they treat public service as a responsibility, not a performance.